The court is back in session. Before I give the floor to the co-prosecutor, I would like to remind you, Mr. Witness, please do not spend time reading all the documents provided to you. You can do so when the co-prosecutor or other parties want to clarify certain matters with you, then you can read the documents and give the responses. Now, I hand over the floor to the co-prosecutor to resume your questioning. You may now proceed. President, you may now have the floor. Victor Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to make an observation for the record. When I was objecting to the question about the person involved in Barai John Dek, I didn't in itself dispute the relevance of the questions. But I somehow presumed some form of advanced knowledge the prosecution has that we don't. It now turns out, after checking, that the person that he referred to is indeed on the prosecution's witness list. You did not make a decision yet as to his appearance, but it turns out that this particular person has just given, very recently, testimony in case 4. His WRI was disclosed on the 29th of September and is available only in Khmer. Now, we don't know yet, because we cannot read, or I cannot read Khmer, what's in that particular WRI, but apparently the prosecution knows already, otherwise I don't think he would be even asking that question. So my observation is not an objection, but just to establish that how these case 4 disclosures objectively are to the benefit of the prosecution. They have what it boils down to, advanced knowledge of that particular case. We do not know why this particular person might be interesting for the prosecution. We can make assumptions, but we don't know. Then returning to my earlier objection, I thought we were in a segment on the charm. If this particular witness is so important, he can come back when we're discussing the purges in the North Zone or somewhere else. But now asking this particular witness questions with the advanced knowledge that we simply do not have, I find unacceptable, and actually is an example of the very problematic situation that we have with those case 4 statements dropping into our own case, into our own trial.
Let me be brief, Mr. President. I want to get back to questioning this witness. That assertion is completely false. I myself also do not know what is in this new statement from this witness. Haven't read it. What I have read are the numerous other prior interviews of this witness, including ones that he gave during the Case 2 investigation. That is how we knew his role in Barai District, based on Case 2 interviews. That is why I asked the questions. So the assertion that somehow I have an advantage or know something counsel doesn't have access to is simply incorrect. If I may proceed, Mr. President. Mr. Witness, I wanted to ask you next if you remembered a visit by a Chinese delegation, a delegation that was led by Chen Yung-kui, that came to your region in December 1977. Do you remember that Chinese delegation?
Answer: I have no idea about Chinese delegation.
Do you remember a ceremony at which the first January dam was inaugurated in December 1977, and were you present at that ceremony?
បាទអត់ទេលោក
Answer: no.
Let us now move on to the period that you were the deputy secretary of Chamkarlu district. I asked you earlier about how long you were in the sector commerce chief position. You said 3 months. You also indicated that when I showed you the date of arrest of the zone commerce chief Chai, that you had been there for about a month when he was arrested at the start of October 1977. You've testified that it was in late 1977 that you went to Chamkarlu, became the Chamkarlu district deputy secretary. Is it correct then that it would be either in late November or December 1977 that you took on this new position as the deputy secretary of Chamkarlu district?
Answer: in 1977, perhaps in late 1977, I came to take the position of the secretary at Chamkarlu.
And who was the secretary of Chamkarlu district when you were deputy secretary?
គឺ
Answer: it was brother So Soon.
And you're referring here to the wife of Kai Pak, is that correct?
Answer: yes, it was her.
I want to ask you about something that Su Sun said during her trial testimony in this court on the 5th of June 2015. For the record, I'm referring to E1/311.1 trial transcript for that date at around 09:42:40. At this part of her testimony, notwithstanding that there were several witnesses who had identified her as district chief, including yourself, Petch Chim, and others, Su Sun denied that she was Chamkarlu district chief, and she made the following assertion about you. Quote, question: according to you, who was the head of the Chamkarlu district? Answer: from my recollection, Tab Ban was the chief. I remembered that he was the chief because we were close. We were close and we were living nearby. End of quote. Mr. Witness, I wanted to give you an opportunity just to react to this. Do you have any knowledge as to why Su Sun denied that she was Chamkarlu district secretary and claimed that you were the district chief?
Answer: I was the deputy secretary, not the secretary. She was actually the secretary.
And where was the Chamkarlu district office located where you worked?
Answer. It was about 500 meters away from sector's office.
And what village and commune was the district office in?
Answer. It was in Swai Tiep commune. As for village, I could not recall the name.
Do you remember a cadre named Tieng, who was the Chamkarlu district secretary before Su Sun?
But Ate,
Answer. No, I do not know this person.
One of the documents I gave you earlier today, Mr. Witness, if you could look at the document E3 2957, it's one of the S21 lists that I gave you, the third list, titled Central Zone. And I want to refer you to a few people on that list. Number 6 in E3/2957 is a cadre named Kao Chorn, alias Rorn, identified as the chief of the Chamkarlu District Security Center, who entered S21 on the 19th of November, 1977. Number 21 is a person identified as a member of the Chamkarlu District Committee who entered on the 14th of November 1977. Number 1 on the list is the Sector 42 Security Chief, Mies Sok alias Sao. And there are a number of other Sector 42 cadres. If you look at numbers 13 through 15, 18 through 26, all of these cadres from your sector who were arrested and sent to S21 on either the 14th or 19th of November 1977. Do you remember the arrests or purge of a number of cadres from your sector in mid-November 1977? And do you remember what it was that brought about the arrests of those cadres?
but ខ្ញុំ
Answer. Upon my arrival, the purges were already done. Security personnel had already been purged, and it was not long before the entry of the Vietnamese troop. And when I was there, I had no idea who had been arrested.
So it was after these cadres had been purged and removed that you were put into your position as Deputy Secretary of the District. Do I understand correctly?
Answer. Yes. I became the Deputy Chief of the Public Works Unit. The purges had already been done, and I have no idea about purges.
Okay, we're talking now about the period in late 1977 when you became the Deputy Secretary of Chamkarlu District. One more question on this. Did anyone ever explain why these cadres from Sector 42 had been arrested in November 1977? Did you ever hear anything about that?
Answer. No, I did not hear anything.
I want to ask you a few questions now about the Cham population in Chamkarlu district. Were there Cham people in Cham Karlu, and what part of the district did they live in?
But ខ្ញុំ
Answer. I do not know where they were living. I was responsible for Luvia village and Chamka on Dong village. And other villages were independent and were under responsibility of other chiefs. I was a newcomer, so I had no clear understanding at the time.
Do I understand correctly, though, that you had been living in Cham Karlu district ever since you had become the sector deputy chief for public works? That the public works office and the commerce office, where you worked before becoming deputy secretary of Cham Karlu, were also in that same district. Do I understand correctly?
Microphone was not activated. Witness. Yes.
And you stated in your OCIJ interview that you had responsibility for 2 communes. You've just identified those, Levay and Chamkar Andong. Were there any Cham families in those communes?
បាទអត់ទេទេ
Answer. No, there were none of them.
You stated that during the 3-month period you were sector commerce chief. You worked in a location in Spu or Chai Yu. Were you aware that Spu village in Chayu area, that was the home of many Cham families?
បាទ
Answer. When I was working at the place, the commerce office was located in the site of the pagoda. I had no knowledge of Cham population.